لا من يجمع المال ويلقى فيه أهوالا سنون العمر ماضية وكأس الموت قد سالا.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Dear beloved viewers, I welcome you with the greetings of peoples of paradise. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In our previous episode, we started the discussion around wealthy consumption in Islamic perspective. We highlighted what is the goal of consumption from an Islamic perspective, which is to enjoy the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a permissible manner by observing all the limits that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set for us. By consuming our wealth, we should seek God's pleasure through spending the money, through buying items or food or drinks or clothes, or when we are giving charity. We seek God's pleasure in doing all this, not just a self-pleasure or just to satisfy your needs per se, but to seek Allah's pleasure. That is one of the goals of consumption of wealth in Islam. We also discussed about moderation, the goal of responsible consumption by avoiding israf, that we should not excessively consume our wealth or consume items beyond the sufficient level of what is needed. This is very important for us Muslims to take into account, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has condemned musrifin, that He said, Wallahu la yuhibbul musrifin, that Allah doesn't love those who are doing israf, those who are excessively consuming, whatever kind of items. It could be food, it could be drink, it could be in clothes, it could be in several items. Allah doesn't like excessive consumption. We should keep moderate consumption. This is the path of the prophets, and this is the path of the righteous slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, al-wasatiyya, to live or to consume moderately, based on what you need. We discussed various ayahs and hadith highlighting the issue of excessive consumption or israf, and we reached at one point whereby the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw a Sahaba who was taking ablution, and he was using a lot of water when he was taking ablution, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told this Sahaba that la tusrif, don't waste, don't excessively consume the water when you take ablution. Now to continue from there are several lessons that we can learn from the righteous people of this ummah. But let me conclude on the matter of israf by also reminding you one of the incident that happened during the time of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu. Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu one day entered a house of his son Abdullah ibn Umar, and saw a meat. He asked his son, what is meat for? What this meat for? It means during their times, meat was not something that you consume every day. It was something for the rich, if I can use that word. It wasn't something that is consumed every day, like the way we do in a house these days. There will always be either a meat or a fish or a chicken or something like that. So these days, during those days, where meat was either expensive or it was something of the wealthy, Then this Khalifa of Rasulullah ﷺ asked his son, "What is this meat for?" The son replied by saying, "I desired it. I desired today to eat meat. I wanted today to enjoy meat." Then the Umar ibn al-Khattab said, "Kafa bil mar'a sarfan. Kafa bil mar'a sarfan an ya'kula kulla mashtahahu." Subhanallah. Imagine this kind of mindset that this righteous Khalifa had. He told his son, or before that, he asked him, "So whatever you desire you eat?" He told his son, "So whatever you desire you eat." Is that how you live your life? Whatever you desire, you eat. Whatever you desire, you want to do. And then he said very important words here. "Kafa bil mar'a sarfan." It is enough for a person to be considered as musrif, as somebody who is excessively consuming wealth, if he eats whatever he likes. Okay? أَنْ يَأْكُلَ كُلَّ مَا اشْتَهَاهُ. That kind of mentality of you consuming or eating whatever you like, you buy whatever kind of food that one in Omar's mindset is kafa bil mar'a sarfan. Enough for a person to be considered as musrif by his behavior of consuming or eating or drinking or dressing whatever he likes, whatever he desires. Subhanallah. So this is one of the lessons which we can also learn to curtail or to control our desire. During this age we are living, there are so many advertisements and so on and so forth. Always it prompts people to consume, to eat, to drink, to dress, to drive, to beautify, and so on. If we learn something from this Umar's incident, is for you as a Muslim, you should not be led a lifestyle where whatever you desire, you go after it, especially on these particular items. Now, as I promised in the last program, today we are continuing from here. Apart from israf, which was prohibited, there is other two ailments, other two diseases, other two prohibitions with regards to wealth consumption. One or another one is tabdhir. Tabdhir, scholars says, it is a wasteful consumption. It is consuming wealth given to you by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on matters that Allah is displeased with. To be more precise, tabdhir means consuming something not in a right manner or purpose. This action can entail can be illustrated by looking at three dimensions. One is unnecessary consumption. You can be considered as wasteful if you are unnecessarily consuming either food or drink or clothes or other materials object. Unnecessary consumption, which is consuming items which are not needed, are unnecessary, merely to fulfill whims or desire. We previously mentioned the incident of Umar ibn al-Khattab. Okay, you don't need it. You consume something which is unnecessary. Okay, which you don't really need it. It's not necessary for your life, for your either well-being, and so on and so forth. Another dimension under tabdhir is unlawful consumption, consuming of prohibited things. There is halal and haram in Islam. You don't just spend your wealth as you desire. Allah who gave us this wealth, He has also set limits on how we should spend this wealth. There are things that Allah has prohibited us from utilizing them in this worldly life. The likes of alcohol. You should not spend your money to buy alcohol, to buy wine, spirits. and the likes. It is prohibited consumption if you spend your income and buy cigarette, which is harmful to your health. It has no value, no benefit to you at all. It is unlawful consumption if you spend your money in gambling, using your money to gamble, either sports pesa or betting or whatever. It is unlawful consumption to spend your money to buy drugs, cocaine and the likes, to buy pork, to buy or to invest in unlawful businesses. You are not allowed as a Muslim to spend your money in unlawful items, like I have mentioned. Another one which I want to mention here as an example on wasteful spending, which I see it very common among the youth, is spending their money on beautification. Beautification of some objects which have been prohibited. Of course, there are objects which are allowed, like perfumes. Okay, for a Muslim male, it's allowed for him to spend, to buy perfume and make himself smell well and nice. But of course, that is prohibited when it comes to ladies. They can spend, but it should not. They can spend on perfume, but it should not be a perfume that when he walks on the street or when he's out of the house, everybody can smell that perfume. That is prohibited. Should be something which is low when it comes to its intensity to be smelled by others. Something just simple. But for a male, he can spend, he can apply perfume, which is very powerful and so on, but not for our female. This is our Sharia. But people go beyond the limits when it comes to beautification, and even apply beautification products which have been prohibited. The likes which changes your color. Some would like to be white. Others maybe would like to be black. Others would like to be gold. You know, a lot of such kind of cosmetic products which are there, which changes the shape, and this has been prohibited. So a Muslim will not spend his consumption just to go for beautification surgery, just because he wants his eyes to look like this or his skin to have this kind of color and so on and so forth. That is prohibited. Another one on beautification product, which unfortunately I see a lot of young Muslim males in our societies apply, is making their hairs dark, very black. Okay, in the past it used to be a black dye. Okay, you apply a certain material that changes the color of your hairs. Okay, and nowadays there is this clever way of capturing Muslim youth who are insensitive or are very not thinking very well. There is a product now which is called black hair shampoo. This black hair shampoo does the same thing of changing the color, making the color of your hairs look much more darker. But look at how it is called. It is called a shampoo. So that to fool you as a Muslim, to think that no, this is not that one which is making your hairs black. This is just a shampoo for your black hair, and it is called that, black hair shampoo. So if you have a black hair, this is a shampoo to apply it. But in reality, what we see with this shampoo is making your hair much more darker, much heavy darker. And unfortunately, we have been seeing this with a lot of Muslim youth in various salons. So that is a wasteful consumption. You are applying this black color onto your hair, which was prohibited by the Prophet ﷺ, that a Muslim should not use a black color to his hair or to his beards, but you can apply the likes of henna, okay, which brings a different color. So at-tabdhir, we have mentioned 2 dimensions of it, which means tabdhir means unnecessary consumption, but tabdhir also means unlawful consumption. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala equated those who are wastefully consuming their wealth, that they are the allies, they are the friends of shaitan. Okay, and shaitan, as you know, has been cast by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَا تُبَدِّرُوا تَبْذِيرًا. Allah said that you should not wastefully consume what Allah has given you. So dear viewers, this is one of the other prohibition that we should keep away when it comes to consuming our wealth. We should not consume our wealth on unnecessary things or on unlawful items. We will take a short break and come back and discuss another prohibition when it comes to consuming our wealth. Please don't go away.
إلى من يجمع المال ويلقى فيه أهوالا سنون العمر ماضية وكأس الموت قد سالا